The Key of Happy Life by Robertas Kavauskas. Narrated by Ziggy Ellison. Dear reader, first of all I want to establish the basics of our communication. When interacting for the first time, strangers address each other as Mr., Mrs. or Miss. I sincerely desire to be as close as possible to everyone who touches the experience conveyed in this book. Therefore, with all love and respect, I ask you for permission to address you as simply and openly as possible. Sincerely, thank you. The purpose of this book is to help those who want to create a happy life for themselves. If you are reading this book, it means that there is a situation in your life that you needed to look for something we call happiness. But what is happiness? Do we even know who the person is we are trying to make happy? Who is that person we need to give the gift of happiness to? And what's in that gift? The deeper we delve into these questions, the more difficult it seems to get the answers. Everything seems kind of fine. We are living our lives, we are alive, we have income, roof over our heads. But yet something is not quite right. Something is missing. Where does this sense of emptiness come from? Everything that I have written in this book, I have experienced, lived through, and tested in practice myself. For a long time, the same as many others, I always knew who had to fix my life. Who else, if not me, myself? So I was fixing it. However, over time, I noticed that the burden of life was getting heavier and heavier. Life was getting more and more complicated. From time to time, I stopped to think how wonderful it was to be a child. You give your hand to your dad and you are free, jumping puddles and playing carelessly, no worries. You just live freely. In childhood, we don't know how things should be, so we don't even think about whether it was good or bad. In childhood, we are all free, but a person grows and makes more and more rules. The first rules are passed on to us by our parents. Do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. This isn't allowed, and that is forbidden. We grow and feel how life gets more complicated. Troubles and tensions start to arise. You start to think then, is this right or wrong? Will my parents and my teachers like it? Will I succeed or not? One day I realized that I'd become completely confused. It seemed to me that I just need to solve this one problem, and my income will increase. Then I will be able to be free. Yet with increased income, my expenses have also increased. I have even more things to worry about without even knowing it. I created a monster, a magic dragon of desires, and I began to sink into despair, trying to fight it. I would satisfy one of my wishes, and 3 or 4 would appear in its place, as in that fairy tale, when you cut off the head of the dragon, and 3 new ones grow instead. I've started to run out of money to satisfy my desires. Tension was building up at work. I brought that tension to my family, and after some time, it started affecting my health. I realized I had completely lost my harmony. I started to watch the world more closely and saw that everything around happens harmoniously. After winter comes spring. After the spring, summer. But there is no harmony in my life. Spring comes, and I don't feel it. Summer comes, but I am cold. I feel bad. There's tension inside me. I start to think, what is it? Why in nature everything is so balanced, but yet my head is in chaos? Who is in charge of nature? Why is no one making sure I have the same harmony in my life? When I started raising these questions, something vibrated inside of me. I felt a shudder coming from within. I felt that there is something deep inside reacting. I thought if there is something, maybe that something will help me. I didn't find the answers then. But the information started to come in. I started noticing books I've not seen before, seminars I've never heard of. I worked out that there are self-improvement techniques that will help to fix everything. With the greatest enthusiasm, I rushed to handle everything again. I can do everything myself. I started the fight with myself, the race against everything around me. I don't know how many techniques I tried over 10 years, but I always wanted something more, something new. The best knowledge ultimately vanished, without being materialized. What results did I achieve? Everything that caused tension in me I pushed somewhere deep into myself. Things seemed to be getting better, but it was self-deception. The day came when everything that I had tucked deeply into myself festered and came out with such force that it tore off all the masks. I saw clearly that I had become neither better nor calmer or more harmonious. I felt utter helplessness. I realized I am incapable of managing my own life. In that moment, the struggle with myself faded out. I just relaxed in despair because I no longer knew what to do next. It was this state of mind that led me to hear the decisive words of a teacher who I'd heard when attending another seminar. Because of my inner struggle, I had not been able to hear it before. "Seek God," they said. "You will never take care of life yourself." I didn't believe in anything, but I saw that there were people around who were feeling really good, and they were complete with nature, but I'm a complete failure. At that time I said, "That's it, I give up. If someone is up there, if you can help me, please help me." Soon the truth preached, and the Holy Scriptures were confirmed in my life. Knock and the door will be open to you. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. In my deep state of equanimity came my inner spiritual guide. I felt infinite confidence in him. I gave in completely. I was reborn in that moment. Today I call it the true birth of a man. Then I began to receive answers to the essential questions. Why does the best knowledge from the best teachers die? Why are only 2% of people learning something new, practicing it on a daily basis, and only those 2% get a chance to be happy? What was open to me deep in my heart came along with the title, The Key of Happy Life. I received the answer, after which I started doing what I am sharing with you today. That's when my eyes opened. I gained significant perception and knowledge, and at the same time a strong inner stimulus to pass it on to others. But how to find the time for that? I said, "Oh Lord, I am the owner of the company and I am an expert and consultant in building insulation. I lead seminars for municipalities and contractors. You have already taught me to do this, but how will I have time to do all this?" And right then a miracle happened. It only took 3 days and everything was resolved. My deputy, a great friend of mine, whom I had worked with for 12 years and had never fallen out with, brought me his resignation note. "I can't work with you anymore because your spontaneous decisions make the work no longer pleasant," he admitted. "Your decisions have become very strange. You say, 'Go and do it,' but how can I go and do it without any analysis, without any calculations?" I suddenly realized he had to run the company. "Don't look for anything," I said. "Just take it and lead it all. After all, you've been in charge of everything in this company for so many years anyway," I said. And in that minute, my real life started. I got the opportunity to do what I was meant to do. I got the chance to awaken souls for happiness. The series of 4 seminars, The Key of Happy Life, were born in an incredibly free, harmonious and simple way. I didn't create them. They just found expression through me. What is being taught in these seminars? The fundamentals, basic knowledge leading to a unique composite of perceptions and practices. Without it, all other practices and techniques weaken and even lead to energy loss. It is a consistent, cohesive, reasoned, complete system of knowledge that opens the mind to the possibilities of seeing a different reality of the world and itself. This very knowledge helps to get a better understanding of the information obtained in other seminars and to apply it in real life. This new knowledge allows us to take new steps into life, which are dominated by inner peace and completeness, sincerity and gratitude, forgiveness and trust, physical health and vitality. These seminars are interrelated and form an overall set of knowledge needed for future change, so it's worth learning everything in sequence. So here I am, conveying to you a very important message. Without it, I would have ruined my life, and now I can clearly see how many others are doing the same. Without the key of happy life, any practice becomes ineffective or even destructive. Any path leads to routine and stalemate and leads to crisis. Your life will not lead to peace and completeness until the key of happy life becomes the essence of your daily routine. Without the key of happy life, humans are not born for real life. They only exist on the journey to death. Now, it may seem to you that I've given too much importance to myself, but this knowledge is not from me. How can the pencil with which the poet wrote the poem be proud of itself? I only pass on what has been opened up to me and what I have been instructed to pass on. Will you embrace that? Are you ready to be born for real life? Look for answers in your heart. The aim of this book is to convey to each person, as simply and comprehensibly as possible, this basic knowledge, the essential principles of happy life that were unlocked to me, manifested and prove themselves in every person's life. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share what I am allowed to share with you. With love, Robertus. Part 1. The Foundations of True Happiness. Much of what I am going to say in this part of the book will most likely be known to you. However, you will notice that you have not used this knowledge so far. Why? Because your knowledge was not integrated into a coherent system. It lacked reasonably acceptable arguments. I hope you will find in this part and throughout the book what will help you put all the missing dots on the i's. First of all, I want to tell a simple and very common life story. As you read it, pay attention if it relates to your life. Have you ever felt anything like this before? If yes, is there no desire to change it? So here's the story. Martin, a random name, woke up from a sharp, annoying sound of the alarm clock. God, I am so tired, he muttered. I feel tired even when I am asleep. Why? When will it end? Will I ever rest? I need to get up. I need to divert attention from the annoying desire to smash the alarm against the wall. I'll take a shower. Maybe then I'll feel better. Oh my God! Well, why do all sort of bastards get into my life all the time and try to piss me off? Damn plumber turned off the hot water again. I need to smoke. Need to? Since when has smoking become an obligation for me? Yes, once in a cheerful company when I was younger, a cigarette was a symbol of superiority, of leadership. It gave me some satisfaction. But life goes on. It gradually turns into a swamp of vicious problems, each of which you chase with a bitter cigarette, and even more than one. You think, here, I will smoke, relax, and life will be easier. You wish. You throw away the cigarette butt, and with the frustration that it didn't go anywhere, you dive back into that disgustingly sickening monotony of everyday life. Maybe food still provides some pleasure, but still, there's increasingly more rush, urgency. You start eating more often. Doesn't matter where, when, and what. The first bites still seem to have some taste, but then the food turns into a tasteless mass, which you cram into your stomach, just not to feel hunger. After eating a tasteless breakfast, Martin takes off into the dark structure of buildings, streets, and cars, a structure in which everything is crammed in which we live next to each other, but we do not know each other, and at best we are indifferent to each other, but more often than not, angry, frustrated, resentful, vindictive. Through this structure, Martin gets to work. A lot of people say, Martin, you have a good job, you earn well, you can make a career, you can become happy. You can. Everything is constantly somewhere ahead. It seems like I'll do one more thing, then another one, and something will change. I'll start to live freely, peacefully, happily. Someday. When? And what's going on now? You are squeezing yourself to get the results that are needed for someone else, but not you. And when you lose patience completely, then you start shaking up your life and start demanding for the results that suit you. At first, life seems to obey. Things kind of get better, but suddenly it turns round and punches you badly on the nose. You feel like a roulette gambler after winning once, twice, and a third time, starting to believe that the whole world is in your pocket. but one day you suddenly sort of wake up and see that you are barefoot, empty, and indebted to everyone. Someone once said that life is a celebration. You are wrong, Martin. Life is not your celebration. You are wrong. This is the story of many. That was my story too. Why do we have to live like this? Is there some liberation? Yes, there is. But like everything, let's start from the beginning. Let's start with the first fundamental question. Who I am. Who is he who wants to be happy? How to give yourself the gift of happiness? If I don't know who I am, I can't answer how to make that unknown happy, how to feel yourself. These questions are not simple. The answer to them was found by enlightened, spiritually awakened people who are able to rise above their thoughts. When we say, I am a human being, many of us have a body in our minds. But am I really a body? If I am a body, then in which part of it am I? In the hand. But if I lose my hand, shall I be no more? I will be. A person has his heart transplanted, but the feeling of I am remains the same. Remember how you were as a child. Are you the same person now as you were in your childhood? The feeling of I am remained exactly the same. But is the body of a 5-year-old child the same as your current body? No. Basically, they have nothing in common, because all the cells in the body have changed completely in that time, and more than once. In about 7 years, old cells die and completely new ones are born. During life, our bodies change several times, but we stay the same. That means I am not a body. Finally, do we say I body or my body? My body. That means that there is someone who uses the body as an instrument of experience. What is it? Maybe I am the mind. The reasoning of a 5-year-old child and an adult is very different. If we ask a child what a cucumber is, he or she will start showing us what this vegetable looks like, explaining it by comparisons. Children's mindsets are based on images, and we, the adults, will say, a vegetable, creeping vine plant, blooms yellow, fruit elongated, green-striped with spines suitable for salads. An adult thinks in logical categories. So the very principle of thinking has changed, but the feeling of I am has remained completely unchanged. If we do not change as the mind changes, then we are not the mind. And again, I, mind, or my mind? My mind. That means that there is someone who uses the mind as an instrument. What is it? Maybe I am the thoughts. But what thoughts were revolving in our minds when we were children? And what thoughts revolve there now? The thoughts are completely different. But I am has remained unchanged. So we can't associate ourselves with thoughts either. After all, we say, my thoughts, not I am thoughts. That means there is one who notices the thoughts. So, who am I? This is not a simple question. I am the one who can observe my thoughts, say many spiritual teachers who have expanded their consciousness. That means I am an observer who can observe thoughts, sensations, breathing. That is, everything that happens here and now. A silent, passive observer who observes what is happening around me and in me. But if I am talking about an observer of thoughts, that means I have noticed him. Who noticed the observer of thoughts? Therefore, there is the one who can notice the observer of thoughts, and who noticed the observer of the observer. The universe is infinite, and the I as an observer is also infinite. In self-knowledge, we can dive deeper and deeper. It is an inexhaustible treasury. It is a complete liberation from all attachments, from all concepts. Those who have attained the enlightenment of consciousness say, I am the all-pervading cosmic consciousness that manifests through all living beings as they inhale and exhale. We are the flowing energy, the consciousness that perceives and that observes. Observation is the consciousness. Consciousness is not the doer. Consciousness is the observer. We consciously observe and experience everything that happens. Consciousness manifests through living beings that inhale and exhale. And what is breathing? For the average person, this is associated with air circulation in the lungs. But did you know that a human being would not survive if his skin could not perform certain metabolism, which is also called breathing? So what does inhale and exhale mean? This means metabolizes with the environment. Well, we breathe, the puppy breathes, the kitten breathes, and do the trees breathe? They do. Although we don't see how this happens, we do know that there is a constant metabolism going on in plants. They absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen to the environment. And does the desk where you work breathe? Is there an exchange going on in it? You say no, but the desk is not eternal. It ages. And if the desk ages, then there is an exchange going on in it, i.e., it breathes. For example, a metal takes oxygen from the environment and releases metal oxide. Corrosion is occurring. This is an exchange, a metabolism. That is breathing. Since nothing is constant in the universe, everything changes, so everything breathes and everything is alive. How does consciousness manifest itself? Energy flows through every particle of the universe. Physicists have found that there is an energy field around every object. There is also an energy field around us, an aura. What is an aura? This is consciousness. Everything that exists around is consciousness. It is a single, endless, and uninterrupted energy field. At this point, an important question arises in our minds. If I am the all-pervading cosmic consciousness, why can't I feel and perceive everything as I do with my arm or another part of my body? While man lived trusting the universe, life, nature, world, God, doesn't matter how you name it, and watched the state of his heart more than the outside world, he intuitively felt unity with everything that exists. By focusing, a person could feel everything that a tree, grass, stone, bird, planet, or anything else feels. When man began to be guided by the mind and began to pay more attention to the external physical world, he saw himself as a separate physical being, unrelated to the environment by any noticeable physical bonds. Then the sense of isolation emerged, that is, an energetic program of human biofield that prevented humans from feeling the vibrations of the biofields of surrounding objects. The mind is not my. A person usually thinks he has his own mind, which he can change and regulate, and tries to do that by putting a lot of effort in and using a lot of energy. But the mind is not individual or self-contained. The mind is a program of the collective consciousness of humanity at the energetic level. What is this program? The mind can be imagined as a very large storage of cosmic information. The human being who comes into the world is connected to this storage. Everything that person thinks and perceives is recorded in that storage, absolutely everything. Infinity of information from all of humanity. And it all revolves through each human being. Through you flows not only what you think, but also how the whole of humanity thinks and feels. That means that we follow the rules of life created by someone else. They were not created by us. We were born and we find out. We adopted the rules through parents, educators, teachers, and mass media. So, our mind is not our mind. It is a program of analysis, contradictions, and tensions, created by the collective consciousness of all humanity. It was formed when a man lost confidence in everything that is, universe, life, world, nature, cosmos, God, or whatever you want to call it, and decided to figure everything out for himself. He arranged it according to himself. The mind constantly discovers through opposition how it is and how it should be, and encourages dissatisfaction in man and the efforts to change it. The human aura radiates vibrations of opposition, of anxiety, which feed the mind. Man gets weaker, while the mind stronger. This veil of tense energy that envelops the entire earth is called the mind sphere. It emits vibrations of oppositions that do not match the frequency of love, thoughts that a person attracts with his disharmonious state. What can a person control himself? Can you know what next thought will come into your mind? No. A person can control his reaction to the flow of thoughts, but he cannot directly influence the flow of thoughts himself. When someone smiles at you, you can also smile back at him, or you can get outraged. What are you smirking at? Is something wrong? So a person can control his reactions. The mind keeps revolving as always. It doesn't disappear anywhere. It is therefore pointless to regulate it, to try to control it. But most people are busy doing this all their lives. The mind is constantly looking for contradictions and provides man with information that incites resistance. All you have to do is stare at the TV screen, grab a newspaper and read the headlines. The mind is basically a negative program. It is like the soil. If you don't take care of it, weeds will quickly start thriving in it. The same thing happens with the mind. When it is given a free rein, it gallops to the nearest dump, to the TV box or a newspaper, and starts dragging negative information to you. The mind is nourished by the energy of opposition, resistance, and dissatisfaction. When a person thinks and feels this way, the negative energy vibrates from his energy field and feeds his mind. The person loses vital energy and weakens, while the mind grows stronger and creates even more contradictions. In the life of such a person, the worries are constantly increasing, but the energy to overcome them is decreasing. What to do? Is there a way out? Yes, there is. All you need to do is develop the ability to control your attention and focus it on what you are aiming for and not on what you are opposed to. I will tell you more about this further on. The thoughts are not my. The 20th century was the century of energy exploration. The scientists measured everything that could be measured. Humans were also measured by all parameters. It turns out that we are an energetic being, and our physical body is something of an electric machine. Think about what passes information from one organ to another. This is done by electromagnetic signals flowing through neurons. In other words, it is electricity. When a person thinks, his brain emits electromagnetic impulses. Every thought to which a person pays his attention becomes a dose of vital energy which he sends to the environment through his energy field. The law of conservation of energy states that energy does not emerge from anywhere and does not disappear anywhere. It only changes. Thus, the vibration of thought-induced feeling emanating from a person's energy field encounters the energy fields of surrounding objects and changes them. Then conditions, circumstances, situations, phenomena, etc. begin to change. In this way, thoughts affect the environment through which a person experiences again what he or she felt while they were thinking. Scientists have developed the MindFlex thought measuring device which helped to determine that a person rethinks about 60 to 65,000 thoughts a day. How many doses of vital energy do you release from yourself? And if thoughts influence the future of the person, he must control his thoughts in order to control his own future. Try to count how many thoughts you have thought about during this day consciously, that is, really knowing what you were thinking about and how you were feeling. You can probably name a few, maybe a dozen, at best up to 30 thoughts because you don't usually follow your own thoughts. Observing your thoughts is an indicator of awareness. Know what you are thinking. But many people don't even pause to think about it. If you only remember about 30 thoughts a day, where do the other 64,970 thoughts go? They just left, taking away that person's life and their energy. Every thought affects the person's future, and they don't know what they're thinking. So who lives their life? That's why it's so important to be conscious. Energy in the human being. There are two main types of energy circulating in humans. The first is physiological energy. Thanks to that, physiological processes take place in the human body. The body moves, performs, and acts. It is received from biochemical reactions that take place in the cells of the body. The raw materials for these reactions are obtained by man through breathing and through diet. These raw materials are supplied to the body in cycles. You inhale and you will need to inhale again very soon. You eat. After a while, you will have to eat again. Can you inhale enough oxygen for an hour or eat enough to be full all year long? Of course not. it is very important what quality raw materials, at what time, in what quantities, in what way a person uses them. It determines how well the body will function. However, physiological energy alone is not enough for a person. Imagine a person going to the gym 3 times a week, eating a healthy and balanced diet. His body is strong and muscular, but the man returns home and has no energy to do anything. He just wants to flop out in an armchair in front of the TV and do nothing. Why does he not have the will to use his physical strength? What is he missing? It turns out there is a lack of another type of energy, free vital energy. What is free vital energy? It is the energy that is the basis of all life of the universe. Free vital energy is the energy of the highest vibration that flows through every particle of the universe, that permeates, transfuses absolutely everything. It is also called the life force of the universe, or cosmic energy. In Sanskrit, it is called prana. To give you a better understanding, I will start from the beginning. I am not claiming to know the absolute truth. I will just share with you what I have been given, a system of knowledge that allows the mind to calm down. After finding that cosmic objects are constantly moving away from each other, scientists developed the theory that the universe was formed after the Big Bang. But while observing the world, we see that everything is interconnected, cyclical and harmonious. Satellites revolve cyclically around planets, planets around stars, seasons recur cyclically, animals migrate, plants become green and they fade. How from a chaotic bang could come such coherence? If the Big Bang theory were correct, it could be assumed that a new aircraft could be built by blowing up an aircraft factory. While reading the scriptures, I felt the truth within. In the beginning, everything was a homogeneous, conscious, perfect substance of balance. At some point, an inner intention to experience itself spontaneously appeared. But how do you experience something differently if everything is just the same? Who will tell what is black if everything is just white? Experience only comes with the ability to collate and to compare. From the intention to experience oneself, internal programs were born, according to which part of the original substance shaped itself into various forms, i.e. planets, nebulae, water, animals, light, heat, etc., and another part of the original substance in its original state permeated all forms and gave them life. In other words, the whole harmonious, all-encompassing system of forms and states is permeated by the energy of balance and love, the life force of the universe. Everything that exists is swimming in this energy. The free vital energy manifests in a person as a feeling of unconditional love, love without the need for a reason. It is different from the feeling we usually call love. I describe unconditional love as a combination of 6 feelings, independent of external conditions. When we love unconditionally, we are willing to sacrifice ourselves and sacrifice everything. There is a feeling of surrender. We also feel complete confidence in life, nature, the world, destiny, the universe, and God, in everything that exists. We are grateful, and not for any benefit, but for the fact that it all simply exists. Then there comes the inner peace regarding the past, present, and future, bringing relaxation and the sense of humility. We stop arguing with life, and relaxed, we are doing what we think is best for everyone at this moment, and everything is flooded with unreasonable joy. This whole range of feelings merges into the state of good. Good for no reason. When a person is in this state, determination, will, enthusiasm appears in him. All this is love. We live in the ocean of love. When we have the energy of love, free energy, we can do anything, and not sometime later, now. The opportunity to use your physical potential arises at this moment. If we did not have the energy of love, we would not be able to move even the smallest muscle. Our hearts would not beat, no organ would work, and we would die immediately. When there is not enough free vital energy in the human body, he becomes unable to use the physiological energy in the physical body. The logical question arises, how can it be that a person, being permeated with this vital energy, swimming in the ocean of it, can run out of it? Human beings see only the physical part of their bodies, but know that in addition there is also the energetic part of the body. The physical body reflects the principles of functioning of the energetic body. Just as there are blood vessels in the physical body through which the vital medium of the physical body, blood, flows, so there are energy channels, called nadi in the Sanskrit language, through which the free vital energy, prana, flows. What determines the amount of free vital energy in our energy body? How does this energy occur in energy channels? Here is manifested one of the main energy laws of the universe, the law of attraction. Each energy vibrates at a certain frequency. Energy doses vibrating at the same frequency attract each other and unite together. And what makes it possible to attract the energy of love? Every soul comes into this life with a certain amount of love, free energy, accumulated through previous experiences. This energy circulating in the channels of the human energetic body attracts the same kind of energy that pervades man from space and integrates it into his energetic body. In this way, the energetic body of man is filled, giving him the opportunity to experience surrender, trust, gratitude, obedience, peace, and joy, and to become determined and enthusiastic. A human being is a magnet that attracts to himself what his energetic body radiates. Why does man increasingly lack vital energy over time? Who depletes it? The energy of love is depleted through the tensions that arise in a person when he judges and attaches too much importance to something. How does it all start? The newborn baby has no attitude towards his environment. He does not judge anything and does not oppose anything, so there are no tensions in him. The energy of love in his energetic body draws the same kind of energy from space and fills the entire energetic body with it. As the baby grows and his energy body capacity increases, so does his energy and enthusiasm. The magnet of love keeps getting stronger. However, the older a child becomes, the more restrictions arise in his or her environment. When a child gives importance to them, he begins to worry and fear. He starts to break the constraints and restrictions. The first failures happen, the punishments, and the tensions they cause. These tensions deplete the free energy in his energy body, and the more independent the person becomes, the more trouble falls on his shoulders, the more tension he experiences. Finally, the time comes when tensions accumulate so much that they consume far more free energy than the man is able to attract. The amount of love in a person begins to drain rapidly. He loses purpose, determination, and the enthusiasm that allows him to be active. The magnet of love weakens, while the magnet of worries grows stronger. You have probably heard the truth written in the Bible. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them, while whoever has will be given more. I think you now understand what we are talking about. As long as a person has enough love energy, he attracts a new dose of love energy. However, the human has managed to outweigh and move his energy balance to the other side. The more energy of love is wasted, the less of it is attracted. Thus, a person's life becomes more and more complicated, until he finally feels that he no longer has the strength to walk. He seems to have physical strength, but no longer has the opportunity to use it. If a person continues to exhaust himself with worries, physiological processes of the physical body and the normal functioning of organs begin to lack the free energy. Then, the person starts to get sick. How and where energy is wasted. The energy of love is for human beings to live in harmony. Unfortunately, we do not protect that energy. We recklessly waste it. How? Outward focus. Each focus of your attention is the direction in which you direct your vital energy. Every time when you judge someone, figuratively speaking, you open the valve on the tube that carries your vital energy. The attention is the directing of the energy, and the emotion is the amount of energy being given away. Human sense organs scan the outside. If a person is able to focus his attention on his state and remain calm in relation to the outside world, he accumulates vital energy, strengthens the magnet of love. But if the person's attention turns to the outside and the judgment emotions are turned on, then the vital energy is turned into tension, and the external process to which the attention is directed is activated. Now think about how many times and where you direct your energy. What do you do in the morning? Many people turn on the TV or radio when they get up, and right away their focus is on what they hear: crisis, strikes, dissatisfaction, crime. If you focus your released energy so that everything around is bad, where will it go? Exactly there, with what you were just angry about. You are outraged by corruption, and you feed it with your energy. In the collective consciousness, the corruption program intensifies. Remember the law of conservation of energy. Energy does not emerge from anywhere and does not disappear anywhere. Think about where you usually focus your energy, on positive or negative phenomena. Probably more often on the negative ones. Why? Because it's not you who controls the attention, but the mind, and it feeds on the tensions of contradictions. Because man does not know the energetic laws of the universe, he does not understand why there is so much negativity around. Ask yourself, were there so many negative things 20 years ago? No. Who is cultivating those negative things? We are doing it ourselves. Here's how we use our focus. If you are not yet able to keep the focus within yourself, in the center of your peace of mind, at least direct it to what you want, what you are striving for. Take this example from the life of a regular family. The child is messy, and the parents get frustrated every day. They shout, "Can you tidy up at once? How long will this go on?" But nothing changes. On the contrary, it keeps getting worse. Why? Because parents use their vital energy to feed the child's messiness. What should they do? Focus on the child's positive behaviors. After all, eventually they will tidy up. Inflate the positive actions of the child. Feed what satisfies you with your vital energy. When you don't feed the negative things, they will start to decline and fade. And the thing you feed will start to grow and strengthen. It is very important to apply this regularly and consistently in your life. Where is a person's attention most of the time? It's thrown around all over the place. Speak with a neighbor about football or politics? Resented something, gossiped about somebody, condemned somebody? Has that made the person's life better? No. He only wasted energy. If you decide you can't do something, you are unable to do something, then so it will be. The thought that accompanies the feeling shapes the reality that makes your life. So be conscious. Don't waste your vital energy. Become an observer. Focus on your center of equanimity and create the peace equanimity that is good for you and for others. Unrealized intentions. Think how much commitment you have taken on your shoulders. You take on more work that you can do. You promise something and you don't have the capacity or ability to do it. That way you are just burning up your energy. Allow yourself to have your life revision and either renounce your promises and forget them, or keep them and forget them too. Be as honest as possible with yourself and others. Say only what you think. Work with what you are capable of and avoid empty promises.